Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. And if you are watching this right now, thank you for waiting patiently. I'm going to hope that there is no echo, so I'm going to turn my volume on just to make sure about that. Okay, we are now live. All right, awesome. So there is no echo, which seems to be great, and it looks like there was some issue with when it started, but we are live and we are here. So welcome to Late Night Football. Thank you, Sahil. Thank you, Kevin, for joining me again back on the show. We are now ready to roll, and let's get right into it. I mean, let's cut to the chase. Thank you everyone who's watching. Please send in your comments and questions about the game today. If you have any, please send a feedback. Also, if you want to talk about anything in particular that we're discussing, please let us know as well. Happy to take that, and we will read that out as we go. So let's get right into it. Kevin, we're going to talk first up about the Chelsea Krasnodar game. 4-0 to Chelsea, really great performance from them. And but let's start with the lineup. What do you think what was first impression when you saw that lineup?
The first thing that I saw was Ziyech starting, and then I was thinking whether Tomori should start or not, but Zoma did, and Rudiger did. Sorry, I mean Rudiger did, and that was surprising to be very honest. And yeah, overall the lineup was good. It's just that Tomori didn't start, but for me it's okay because Zoma and Rudiger are more experienced, so more solid on the back with Mendy.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that Reece James has not been starting lately. So
Yeah.
there's this one thing. Otherwise, I think overall the lineups were good. Starting Ziyech, and I saw that, and that was like overall satisfying
Yeah.
lineup
Well, Ziyech did
for me.
start against United, if I'm not mistaken, right? He did start. Yeah, it was James against James, so he did start that one. Maybe he was just rested. He has been playing a lot of games, but well, finally Ziyech started. That is something. Sahil, a lot of Chelsea fans have been waiting to see Hakim Ziyech in action. So I guess a lot of Chelsea fans are really happy that he finally started the game.
Yeah, obviously, quality player, great on the ball, great to watch. Really, what do you call, a lot of flair on him. And from what I saw in the first half, he was doing pretty well. I think he was linking play with Havertz at times and just like taking some shots off, trying to set up players. Um, didn't really watch the second half where the goals came in, so not sure what he did in that.
Yeah.
But then obviously in the first half seemed like one of the better Chelsea
Yep,
players.
for sure. On that note, this is in the first half, and we'll talk about that first penalty missed because there were two penalties for Chelsea. The first one that Jorginho missed. Kevin, can you walk us through what happened there exactly? Because I'm not sure.
He just like he normally takes the penalty skipping after one skip, so that's how he takes the penalties. But I don't know, this time it hit the bar, and it landed on the goalkeeper, and then again it bounced back. So I think Timo had touch uh, in between, but still they couldn't convert it. But that's fine. We scored four
Yeah.
goals
In the
later
end, it
on.
wasn't a big deal because Chelsea came back and they won. But that is something to think
Yeah.
about for sure. But the second penalty, Kevin, was that a penalty? I thought it was harsh, but what do you think? Was that a penalty or not?
I think it was a penalty for me. Uh, uh, yeah, I mean, I don't have much to talk about it. I think that was a clear
For
penalty
you,
for me.
yeah.
I don't know.
Some might say that was harsh. I know the Guardian said that it was a harsh penalty. So I'm not sure if everyone would agree. But that being said, we still spoke about it on Saturday about Lampard becoming Oli-like with his tactics where he played a back five. Are Chelsea becoming United-like but getting all these penalties? They seem to be getting a lot of penalties. Who's talking, but they are getting it. I mean, you see, nobody's going to talk about this, right? That Chelsea getting penalties. Imagine if United had got a couple of penalties in that 5-0. Anyway, just a joke.
United did get some
Not well,
penalties.
not well. Oh yeah, they did get a penalty today.
Just
Oh
one.
yeah.
He
Oh wow,
got
they
a
get a penalty today. I know how
yeah.
they got that. Well, I mean, yeah, it was a penalty though. But yeah, I was like, oh
Bruno didn't take it.
yeah, I got one penalty, but Bruno didn't take it. Yes, that is true. Bruno didn't take it. So, but anyway, talking about that, Sahil, 3 clean sheets in a row now for Chelsea. The first two were nil-nils. This is a bit more, 4-0. But it looks like Lampard has addressed those defensive issues. It's only Krasnodar, but still, it looks like there is now some defensive solidity in that side.
Yeah, obviously. I think the addition of Thiago Silva and a changing keeper changes a lot of things. I like Thiago Silva again communicates with the other with Zuma, with Aspilicueta, with Kante in front of him, Mendy behind him in fence. So I guess they all can talk to each other more easily, which makes the betting in process for Thiago
Hmm.
a lot easier because initially a lot of people thought that he doesn't speak French. So, um, but he doesn't speak English, but I guess that's not really a problem. And he looks like he's already had a lot of influence on people around him, which probably comes with his experience. And obviously, Mendy made some amazing saves last weekend against United, and then today also in the first half I could see him jumping around to save a few shots, which you probably expect Kepa wouldn't save given his
Yeah.
confidence at the start of the season. So yeah, it helps a lot, and that's a three clean sheets in a row. Obviously, it's a good thing
Hmm.
for him.
Yeah. Yeah, you spoke about Tomori not being part of probably not being part of that defense at the moment. But the first choice defense that's probably Zuma and Silva going forward, which is well, I mean, in some ways, I mean, you don't want to chop and change too much at the back. But credit to Lampard though, Kevin, for at least temporarily fixing that defensive issues because now Chelsea look like they can move up the table and get some wins under the belt.
Yeah, definitely. We needed this much needed.
Stream for a second. It's just gonna reconnect and okay, it has reconnected. So sorry about that, folks. Yeah,
Yeah,
look the woods yet, but yeah, I think it's back. We're back now. So sorry about that. Yeah, it's just yeah, my internet sucks. So, but yeah, all right. But I mean,
where did we stop?
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think we're back now, right? We're back live. So yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
see it. Yep. So yeah, let's carry on that note, and we'll talking about Frank Lampard addressing that issue. Sahil, do you think now he's got that perfect marriage of attack and defense? Like I mean, it's only Krasnodar as you said, but still, like the last two victories were nil-nil. Sorry, the last two games were nil-nil. Now he's got a 4-0 victory. It looks like it's starting to come together.
No, I wouldn't say that yet because obviously I just watched the first half, but then the team was really sluggish and sloppy. They were struggling to go forward and weren't really creating straightforward opportunities. Even the goal they scored was like a big mistake on the Krasnodar's keeper's part.
Hmm.
It was something you would expect Kepa to do basically. Like it was that part.
Yeah.
But uh, but obviously he needs to prove this that his team can defend well against a team in the Premier League or in the Champions League, which is not Krasnodar. Like Krasnodar is one of those teams you expect, would probably got in the group stages that like either finish third or fourth. Like one of those teams you wouldn't give them a shoe in for the round of 16 qualification. But so yeah, once he starts doing this more regularly against the Premier League where teams are a little more intense, or in the Champions League where they're more top quality, then that's when we can have a conversation that Lampard has got it working.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that will be the case I guess going forward for Lampard as well is managing those resources and really making sure that and I guess that attacking fluency will come with time. That it's just a matter of getting players getting used to each other. As you said, they've signed a lot of players, so there's definitely a need there to make sure that it happens. But Kevin, who's your man in the match for this one?
Ziyech for me.
Ziyech, yeah, yeah, and yeah, why is that?
Uh, yeah, overall Ziyech has been like good uh, in terms of like work rate and his gameplay. I think most of like at least the three of the Chelsea goals were from his part, I think. And yeah, if not for Ziyech, we would have like been just 1-0 or maybe even 2-0 max. But with the inclusion of Pulisic and like later on in the game, we were able to score the fourth goal, I think. So, but yeah, ultimately for me, the game man of the match is definitely Ziyech.
Yeah. See, it's a little bit difficult when team wins. We cannot. There's no crisis to discuss. So it's become like all these great, nice things to talk about, and it doesn't necessarily generate viewers. But unfortunately, yeah, that's what's happened today. It's like some easy games there. to talk about. But on that note, also a quick look at the results, and we also see that Sevilla beat Rennes 1-0 in the other game, which was again very very important. I don't know why this my OBS keeps doing this every time, but sorry about that, folks. But yeah, but it's an important result for Sevilla as well. They've won 1-0. So Chelsea now, I believe, are top of the group because they are ahead on goal difference, and Sevilla are second. So that's good for both of those teams. I think it looks like we kind of knew that was probably going to be 1 and 2, Chelsea and Sevilla. Like one of them will be one, the other one will be two. So it's looking like it's going to be that way, which is good for Chelsea. The next game is against Rennes, and you can expect maybe some squad rotation. You think he'll probably rest a few of the regulars for that one, Kevin?
I think Ren has been playing like decent this time. So I'm not really sure about the squad changes, but I think that as always, Werner should start no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
At least to score some goals.
Yeah.
If not, let's see. If not, Zoma or FB
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for me at least.
definitely worth considering. Well, I mean, yeah, this Chelsea still have a big squad, and even with rotation, there'll still be a few first team players that will play. And it is the Champions League. You don't want to take any team lightly, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, we're gonna move on to well, the only thing I will say is that, as I mentioned before as well, is that most teams will want Sevilla to finish second. I think as long as Sevilla finish second, I think the Europa League people will be happy because then they know there's an open chance. Otherwise, it's just it's like, oh well, yeah, when who's getting in trouble for that? So that yeah, but I think yeah, they'll finish
Absolutely.
second. I at least second. I think they'll definitely finish top two. I can't see Ren or Krasnodar overtaking them at least for now. But there's still some
Yeah.
time. Maybe there's some surprise in store. We shall see. If Chelsea lose their next two games, who knows what happens? But maybe not. But we'll move on, and we're gonna talk about this the other another group, and we're gonna talk about Manchester United against. Sahil, your video image for some reason is really creating a lot of problems for me, and I don't know why that is. Whether that's you or me, but it's just yeah, it's weird. It's weird, folks. So we're learning. We're
Oh,
learning. But let's talk about Manchester United against. That's one of the reasons why I hate using a headphone is because this one just keeps coming out every time. So yeah, but anyway, yeah. That by the way, yes, the technical difficulty that we experienced, folks, was all about changing it to a headphone, and apparently that would work. So that's what I've done. That's literally the only thing I've done, and apparently it works. So there we go. It's just such weird things. Technology is so weird. But let's talk about Manchester United against RB Leipzig. And speaking of weird, this is a 5-0 victory. I think that's one of the weirdest score lines. I don't think anybody was expecting that score, or maybe they were, but not the team that would score 5 goals. But I mean, lots of things to talk about. But Sahil, what do you think of that lineup when it was announced?
yeah, I thought that was a very bold lineup. I didn't ever think that we were going to play a diamond because I always think that a diamond is kind of impractical. Like, something that
Mm-hmm.
would something is better suited on FIFA and not like on the pitch because you always feel that your wing backs are going to get overrun. And Leipzig actually started one wing back and one winger on each flank. And like one of our wing backs is Luke
Mm-hmm.
Shaw, and who also had Paul Pogba on the same wing. So they aren't like the most highly working
Mm-hmm.
players, right? Like they're players who have been accused of slacking off previously. So I wasn't very sure about that wing in
Yeah.
particular. But then yeah, like it obviously he also made some changes to the lineup, like the regular performers like Bruno and Rashford were benched, which I guess is rightly because
Mm-hmm.
they've been playing a lot of games, not just domestically but also internationally. So it was good to have some rotation that way. But yeah, I also thought that Transib was
Yeah.
going to start after
Mm-hmm.
last week, but then he
Yeah.
didn't. So
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about our defense coping up with Yusuf Poulsen, who's like a very physical striker. But yeah, it turned out to be well. All my doubts were cleared, and it was a really good performance from given the lineup and especially from what I expected
Yeah,
initially.
it's interesting as well. Oh my god, this seriously. Oh my god, why are you doing that? It's interesting as well that he didn't. That he started Donny Van de Beek, which was something that people were talking about for a long time, but wanting to start Donny Van de Beek. I don't. I mean, I expected. Yeah. Sorry, folks. Again, this is the last time we're doing it live. By the way, we're not doing this again. So I think we know that now. I think we're not. Well, we're not doing it for a while anyway until we can get. I think I can get a better internet connection. So anyway, let's talk about the game actually. Let's talk about the first goal. Was it offside to you, Sahil? Sorry, Kevin. Kevin, was it offside to you? Because you're a rival fan, so let's ask you. Was it offside according to you?
I think it was when I saw it. I was like, this clear cut. This is clear cut offside
Mm-hmm.
for me. Because I think what his elbow, or was it
Shoulder.
his
Shoulder, yeah.
shoulder? Yeah, his shoulder was like it was an offside for me. And I was like, if it would have been like Premier League, they would have given him offside.
Well,
I think.
I when I looked at it, I thought it was an offside at first because I thought it's the sort of leg outside. So according to my common sense ruling, it's offside. But then the lines they worked in the attacker's favor. Is this Sahil? Is this the first time that the lines have actually worked in an attacker's favor? I've never ever seen this happen before. Where it's given where it's it looks offside and then the referee overturns it. I've seen things that look onside.
Yeah, mostly. Exactly, yeah, like mostly it's the attacker has his toe offside or
Yeah.
his armpit offside or something like that. It's never been like the defender had his armpit to keep the attacker onside because normally the attacker is trying to lean
Yeah.
forward, so I guess that's how it works. But yeah,
No,
weird in this
it's
case. Not that I'm complaining. Even I thought it
yeah,
was
yeah,
offside at the
because you
start.
can see
But
with the lines on the pitch, you can see clearly that his leg was off, and then
yeah,
it's off.
yeah, I didn't even look at
No, I
Upamecano's
didn't.
shoulder. Like I didn't even think
I
of it.
wouldn't have. I would have
Yeah.
just skipped
Yeah,
it.
I think it would have been mattered if United would have won 1-0.
Maybe, yeah. It might have mattered. It
Yeah.
might have mattered then, yes, but yeah, well, in the end, it didn't matter. But still, it's one of those interesting ones, isn't it? VAR. But we will talk about VAR because it did have a critical role to play in another goal. But on that note, we'll talk about Fred. I thought he was pretty. I mean, he was good on the defensive side of things, where he was making a lot of tackles. He was breaking up play. He was really good. He was better than Matic at that role. I think Matic was a little bit clumsy at times, but I felt that his passing was a little bit off in this game. I mean, he made the simple passes, but when he tried to do the really good big passes, they were not coming off. Sahil, did you notice that as well with this game, or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. Like he didn't really like the longer the medium passes didn't really come up for him. But then I feel that shouldn't really be his role in the side. Like his role should be to win the ball back and pass it on to the more progressive passer, which in this case was Pogba or Matic next to him, or Van de Beek in front of him, who can probably like get others in
yeah,
space. So I think the role he was supposed to do, which is basically press Leipzig, win the ball back from them in situations basically in his half and in the opposition's half. He did that pretty well and put us in some really good positions to attacks. Like he got the assist for the third goal. He set up Pogba who assisted the first goal. So I think he had a lot of contributions to the
yeah. No,
game.
for sure, he was very good. It's just every time he had the ball and he passed, he gave me a bit of a heart attack. It gave me a bit of a heart attack when he was trying to pass it. For sure. Kevin, second half, it was pretty much the Marcus Rashford show in some ways when he came on because it immediately changed the whole game. What I read was interesting was that in the first half there was a lot of space behind Angelino, which was being left, and that because Angelino was getting forward at every opportunity, so there was space behind, and Van Bissaka obviously isn't that skillful to try to pass the ball, get the ball and move out. And Greenwood probably wasn't making the right kind of runs. Once Rashford came in, he had all that space and freedom to just do whatever he wanted. Um, what was the analysis of his performance in the second half? It's something special, isn't it, just to get a hat trick in within 30 minutes of playing?
Definitely, yeah. Coming off from the bench and then scoring a hat trick, and then like upping the morale of the entire team, that really matters. And like no one would have expected a final victory from United against Leipzig. At least
Well,
I
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't either. Don't worry
Uh,
about it.
s-
I don't know. Sahil did.
so
Sahil, did
ultimately,
you expect? I don't know.
Yeah, no, no way.
it's probably it's probably the always the attacking side from both United and Chelsea
Yeah.
this time that have
Yeah, getting 5 goals and not keeping a
got
clean
it
sheet is like
like
something, isn't it? I'm just playing around with these
yeah, definitely.
iconic images. I mean, at this point, guys, I'm sorry if you're having like some kind of what do you call it? I don't know what the word is. There's a word for it when you keep seeing moving images every time. It gives you like a headache. Or it's giving me a headache moving this, but I have OCD, so I need to make sure that they're all symmetrical, and then it just keeps going off. So I
Oh,
apologize for this. If it's any consolation, I've made the decision. We're not doing a live show for a while again. But it's just
yeah,
weird. But anyway, let's yeah. So I mean, it was an interesting game, and it's sad because this is such an interesting game. Today was two such great games, and we're kind of here fiddling around with this, but technology sometimes ruins it. But uh, on that note, Sahil, we talked about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going with a bold selection. I guess kudos in order for him, right? Because he made some big choices, which could easily have backfired. I mean, a diamond can easily backfire on you if it goes wrong. Because all it takes is one of those midfielders being out of position, or one of those wingers being two strikers being too far up and not doing their job, and it all falls apart. So kudos to Ole Solskjaer for making those selections and getting such a good result.
Yeah, again, like, it's something we didn't really expect from Ole at the start of the season, I guess, like, taking on these big teams and not just like smashing and grabbing a win. Like, he literally went on and outclassed him both attack wise and defense wise. So that was like, against Paris, obviously, like, you could make the excuse that, oh, Paris were not really on top of the game. They're struggling domestically. They didn't have a preseason like us. Leipzig, on the other hand, are literally on top of their league. So to play against Leipzig, uh, shut them completely offensively and completely press them out of the game by opening up so much space and having players to run in behind by having especially by playing such a bold midfield. It's a great thing. Like, I think he completely convinces players what his game plan was. All the midfielders had a very high work rate. Mattis was continuously working. Fred, like we said, was continuously snapping into tackles. Even Pogba, for that matter, was I think he worked harder than he
Yeah.
normally does. And defense was also like extremely organized. Mattis would normally uh, go back to Lindelof or McBack and carry the ball further forward. So yeah, I think he completely nullified Leipzig and made sure that we still attack after putting in the work defensively. So it's probably like one of his best
Yeah,
games
I
he's
think so.
managed.
And I think what was interesting to watch was the fact that they were defending, that there was always 9 or 10 players behind the ball. There was never a case where they were overrun defensively. There were a few crosses, high crosses or whatever that was coming in, and
Yeah,
but there was at no point did they look like they were going to get overrun. What was also interesting is,
yeah.
sorry,
It
Sahil, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I was thinking it also didn't look like we were being very desperate
Yeah.
in defense. It always seemed like we were being very assured and calm about what was happening in the game. So that's not something we've seen a lot
Yeah, for
recently,
sure.
I feel.
And also interesting was I was saying that at this point when you go into the Arsenal game, it might very well be Ole sack watch time. Like, what's it going to matter if he's going to get sacked? But he's actually come out of this phase, and there's still one game left to go against Arsenal. But I think it's safe to say
Yeah.
even if he loses that one, he won't be sacked, hopefully. But he's actually come out pretty well. Like, he's got 2 wins and a draw from these 3 games that we thought he might lose all of them. And of course, if you want to add Newcastle as well, because that wasn't a guarantee. So he's got 3 wins and a draw, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But on notes on Leipzig, because there was another team in this. Kevin, are they overrated a bit? Are they a bit overrated, or do you think that? I mean, what happened? Because you not lose 5-0, or was it just a matter of like at the end? It just
I don't think so because being like consistently being on the currently they are being on top of the
Bundesliga. Yeah.
league of.
Yes,
Are you
I
there?
am there.
Sorry.
He's gone, I
Oh,
think.
did it drop again? Okay, great, awesome. Oh no, okay,
No. I can. No,
okay,
yeah,
great,
we can
awesome.
see you now. Okay. Yeah. So I think that like they are like being on top of the German league. Uh, it's a task because they have Bayern Munich always on the top over there. So like if you would have said that like for what 2 or 3 seasons ago when uh, Leipzig was like winning a lot of games, and then suddenly they would have lost this game against United. I don't think I think I would have said they are overrated then, but currently I don't think that's the case. So I don't think we should say that that they are
Yeah.
overrated.
Yeah,
At
tell
least not now.
people who are listening in on this. Please tell us what you think about Leipzig and the performance today from the team. I think we definitely want to hear from you guys as well about what's going on with the team. But interesting game, and I do want to make one note is that Upamecano to me he's a tank. Like, he's like a tank. I think he's built. He's very very good. He was maybe he was towards the second half. He probably comes off looking a little bit worse. But he was running with the ball. He's very good with the ball. He can actually take the ball out of the back, and you need to do that in a back three. So he was doing that. He was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I just hope.
I think in the first half he was probably in the contention for man of the match at that point because he was playing the balls forward, carrying the field.
Yep,
So
for sure. Oh, and I think Kevin, as your stream has, you've turned off your video, or your video has dropped. One of the things has happened. Something's happened. I'm not sure what has happened. But anyway, all right. Yeah. Well, I'm yeah. Yes. Can you see Kevin Sahil?
No, I can't see
Okay,
him
so
anymore.
then it's not my
Nope.
computer. Okay, Kevin, are you there?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. No
I had
worries.
just gone turn on the lights.
Okay, well that's great. No worries, no
Right.
worries. As long as you're back, we have you back.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. Yeah. So we're almost at the end anyway. So yeah, that was good. Well, in the other game in that group, PSG, as expected, beat Istanbul 2-0. So they are now second in the group on goal difference because our Leipzig took a bit of a hammering. So it's interesting. It's good. Actually, it's good for United to have 6 points now from 2 games because what this means is that if they win the next 2 games, which is Istanbul, so it's kind of nice, favorable, they get to 12 points, and you kind of expect that a draw from the next 2 games will then do it for them, right? I mean, like that's advantageous for Manchester United now to have picked up 2 wins from 2 to start off with. Yeah. All right. We'll talk about the final one. We got like one small game to talk about, which is Barcelona against Juventus. No, I'm kidding. But no, we're gonna talk about Barcelona against Juventus. We're not gonna touch too much. But 2-0 victory for Barcelona at the Juventus Stadium in Italy. It's good for Barcelona in a way. They bounced back from that El Clasico defeat. They don't seem a bad team, to be honest. When I look at Barcelona, and a lot of people go, well, they lost the Clasico and all that. They were not that bad in the Clasico. Sahil, I don't know if you saw that game. They were not that bad in the Clasico. They're not a bad team. It's just it's not the standard of Barcelona that we're used to. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad team overnight, is it?
Yeah, it seems like Ronald Koeman has some newfound trust in the younger players over there.
Yeah.
Like today, if you compare the lineup from the Clasico, right?
Right.
Sergio Busquets was starting, and I think Frankie De Jong was starting as well. But then normally you would expect that Sergio Busquets would keep his position, but then instead Sergio Busquets got dropped for Pjanic. I'm not sure if there was any
Yeah.
injury involved, but then basically if there was an injury involved, I think that's a statement from Koeman to his team that he probably must have moved towards the younger players. Like even his continued trust in Ansu Fati and Pedri, who are both like 17-year-olds, is also a good thing. So it's good to see them. It's good to see them, trying something different instead of like trusting their overage players again and again. Also, I was watching the highlights for the first half, and it didn't seem like Juventus got a shoe in, at least in that half. Like all I could see was Barca attacks
Yeah.
in that field. So I guess they were. I'm not sure if they were deserved 2-0 winners after the second half, but then definitely definitely for the first half, it seemed like they were the better
Yeah.
team.
We got a question here from Ashwin. So I mean, we're going to talk about Juventus as well, but just a quick question from Ashwin. And Kevin, you can answer this. What's your thoughts on the Mendy, Kepa, and Czech saga? Is Kepa no longer a starting 11 player? So Ashwin, to answer your second question, yes, he is no longer a starting player, and I think Kevin is pretty happy to say that he's not a starting 11 player.
I agree to that completely.
Yes, but what is your thoughts on the whole saga with Mendy, Kepa, and Czech? I'm not aware of this. Do you have an idea?
The Mendy, Kepa, and
Well, they
Czech
do have
saga.
Czech as the
So
reserve goalkeeper, right? He's the number 4
yeah,
goalkeeper.
yeah.
So, but should it be Czech though? Should it be someone else from the youth academy that they should have put in the squad instead? I mean, you don't expect a fourth goalkeeper to play a lot against, but I mean, is there an issue there with having Czech as a fourth goalkeeper?
I think considering the pandemic and everything going on around, I think the fourth keeper, it's all probably the what to say,
Academic.
the dressing room, the dressing room scenes. Uh, Czech being what the technical
He's the
director
coach, right? Isn't
of
he
the
the
club,
goalkeeping coach as
the
well?
the goalkeeping coach. Yeah,
No, I
sorry,
think he's the technical
Who's the
director.
technical?
Goalkeeping
technical.
coach is Hilario,
Oh,
if I'm
Yeah,
not
Hilario.
wrong.
Okay,
okay.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So check being that, I think he must also have been frustrated seeing all these issues turning around among the goalkeeper, especially when we have signed such an expensive goalkeeper, which is Kepa, and then after all these things, we are compelled to buy another goalkeeper, which is Mendy. So I think getting frustrated from all these, Czech would must have said that that's it. I'm gonna step up now. This is what I think. But of course, it will create some issues in the dressing room, considering the youth.
Yeah.
Uh, Not to forget that we also have Caballero.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that the fourth, like there'll be there's like very less chance that the fourth goalkeeper will be called. Extremely less chance. So it's just that three of them, Mendy, Kepa, and
For
Caballero.
sure, yeah, yeah. I mean, the fourth goalkeeper is an
Plus,
academic thing anyway at this point. But
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if Kepa was in the squad for today's game as well at all, like in a 22-man squad. So it seems that he's been bent off completely by Chelsea
oh
at
wow,
this point.
okay, that's news for Kepa not to even be in the.
Let me just
Yeah,
confirm
I will
that
do
though.
that right now. We're gonna look at that right now, Ashwin, for you. But then and there might be friction as well, right? Having check in the squad because Kepa might be thinking, and this is again we don't know the truth of the matter, but maybe Kepa's thinking, well, you're having a fourth goalkeeper that you bring him back check. I mean, he might see that as a slight on him as well. That there's a bit of that trust issue, but. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but it's a delicate balance. But I don't think Chelsea fans will care much, considering what Kepa has given back to the team as of now. It hasn't been a lot, so I don't think Chelsea fans will.
Yeah, he had been the manager once,
Yes.
so I think Czech is showing him who the real
Oh,
manager
that's
is.
also well. I mean, he should know. He should not want to be the manager of Chelsea, considering what happens to Chelsea managers. So, I mean, who is? No, I'm
Plus,
kidding.
it's also there that Czech himself is only 38,
Yeah,
and I think he's currently playing ice hockey for some local club in
yes,
London.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah,
probably still fit from that. So
yeah.
I guess he can still
yeah. He
contribute to
can.
the
Yeah, so
training
Kepa
ground.
did not.
That's
Kepa
there.
was not in the starting in the bench. He wasn't. It was Caballero. It might be possible that he was
Yeah,
kept at home. Kept in Chelsea in London. I mean, it's possible. Maybe there's some injury that we don't know about. But yes, that is very interesting story. Thank you, Ashwin, for that question. Though I really appreciate it, and I hope we answered it. That we gave you the answer that you were looking for. But let us know if you have any further questions. All right, so we're talking about Juventus, the Barcelona Juventus game. Let's talk about Juventus, Kevin. And I had this question for you. There seems to be struggling. They're not doing that well in Serie A. Right now, Serie A is very competitive, and it looks like they're struggling there. Now they're struggling in the Champions League as well. Okay, they probably will still finish second in their group. There's probably a chance, but there are issues at Juventus, and I don't know if it's Pirlo, if it's something else, but they've got to buck up quickly, don't they?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't been following Juventus much, but as far as I know, that Juventus the defense was really sloppy this
Mm-hmm.
time, and I mean, uh, Kulusevski was good,
Yeah,
uh, but like sometimes they switch,
yeah,
right? Juan Cuadrado and Kulusevski. So I think Juan Cuadrado is never good in terms of defense because he was a Chelsea player. So uh, I think that Juventus needs some solid backline, and also they like one of their centre backs was like he was suspended as well.
yeah.
So I think in the next game he won't be able to play. So ultimately they are like falling
And there's
apart.
no Ronaldo
Uh,
for another couple of weeks, right?
oh,
Yeah,
oh, that's a completely different story because Ronaldo, like he has himself been saying that he is like COVID is all uh, nonsense, and then they are backfiring, saying that he has COVID positive. He's COVID positive. So yeah, it's so messed up right now, Juventus.
yeah. There are issues, and well, this is. I mean, it's tough to see. It's tough to watch, but Juventus have tried to do a rebuilding this year. They've gone with a lot of youngsters. We spoke about it as well. So you on, yeah, you on the show. We're talking about them signing Chiesa, signing Kulusevski.
Yeah.
They made some decent purchases, but it's just is Pirlo the right coach to take them forward? Is he not? We don't know. But still early
I
days.
mean,
But hopefully he can turn.
so I think one thing I saw in the game was that Murata was caught offside 3 times
Mm-hmm.
when he scored, which is like an unusually high number. So maybe it's just that they are still getting used to their positions and meant to make their runs,
Yeah.
under a new
Mm-hmm.
system. So like maybe they aren't all that, but it just like takes some time to getting used to the new system. But then it remains to be seen if Juventus actually have the patience to deal with another less successful season because they didn't have it last time.
Yeah. So here's an interesting question from Part. Very interesting one. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer one of the GOAT managers when he's about to get the sack? One of the greatest of all time managers. So if I understand your question correctly, I think what he's saying is that when Ole faces the sack, he becomes this really awesome manager. from out of nowhere, and compared to being a mediocre one when he's, and he knows his job is safe. It's an interesting theory, Sahil. I, what do you think? I mean, I have some thoughts, but I would like to hear from you first. What do you think?
It's really funny because the question is coming from literally the set of
Oh,
the
it is.
ball.
Okay, well, okay. Well, then you can answer him
But
later. Yeah, well, that's good. Well, thank you. Well, you can say thank you for that.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
no, I think he started in January,
Mm.
but it's never seemed like he's been under any sort of pressure, right? Like, whenever he's been performing, he's never lost his cool at a press conference. He seems to be very assured of what he's doing, which is weird, I guess, in a way, because you would expect a manager to be blaming things left, right, and center, like what we saw with Mourinho. But then this guy seems to be very composed and calm about his future. Not sure if that's because Woodward has said that his future is safe because they were running stories about Pochettino being available, or because like he just trusts himself so much and we can't really see it, just from the press conference. But but that is true. He always turns up whenever his job is on the line. Like he's done it twice or thrice from what I
Yeah,
remember.
I don't think his job was on the line today. I don't think loss. I don't think a loss or a draw would
Yeah,
have been a problem. If he had lost today, then yes, the Arsenal game would have been critical. He could not afford to lose that one.
I
But
think the his job was more on the line
Newcastle,
against
yeah.
Newcastle, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we were on that row, and also like last season when we were starting the season, we hadn't really recruited. We weren't really sure about what we recruited, and then he goes on and wins 4-0 against Chelsea. So that was like the pressure's gone right over there when you have
Mm-hmm.
such a big
For
victory.
sure, yeah. Definitely. Well, the questions are coming in, and it means that my laptop is running on a battery, so I'm gonna have to switch my screen. So please bear with me a moment. Oh, good. Yes. So you might not see me very clearly, but I will. I have to turn my charger on. So yeah. All right. So we got another one here. Interesting one. By the way, I think we'll do this last
Do
one,
you
and
think
then
Rashford's increased involvement and major success in social causes is another factor, or more confident performances from him, or is that more of a confidence coincidence? I think that's directed to Sahil.
well, anybody can
Yeah.
answer that. Can you guys hear me?
Uh, I would think maybe it's fueling him more a little more because he's been getting told that he needs to focus on his football more on Twitter, like and I think he kind of snapped at that recently making a bunch of tweets about food poverty, and then he was just like, all right, I'm going to focus on being better at football. That's it for me, So he seemed a little mad at people telling him that, but then I think Rashford was continuously improving from last season. He scored like 22 goals last season. A lot of them were penalties, but still, it was like he could see him being more involved with build up, more involved being the center of what goes through the attack. So I think it's just result of the continuous improvement from last season and basically the team gelling more together, have allowing him space to run into. But obviously today was something different. I've never seen a hat trick from Rashford, let alone a first half, let alone a hat trick in a single half. So he seemed like more fueled on today, probably because his petition got like 1 million signatures, which is an amazing feat. But yeah, it could be a factor. That's an interesting
Yeah. Well,
thought.
can you guys hear me now? Yes. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Kevin, for taking over
Yes,
my
one.
show. And this last thing left there. But I think it's interesting with Marcus Rashford, isn't it? That the kind of it seems like everything's coming. It's like all this good karma that is coming together for him now, in terms of what he's doing. So yeah, that's it's good. I don't think it's a coincidence, but I do think that he has that he now has that confidence. Also, perhaps he knows that this microscope is going to be on him. Every time he goes out there, if he doesn't perform, there might be people going, oh, he should probably focus more on his on-field stuff. His off-field stuff, maybe the politicians will jump on it as well. That he's more focused on that. So maybe he feels like he needs to perform every time. But I mean, it's interesting as well that when we see Rashford coming on, he's now one of those big guns that we talk about, not a talented youngster anymore. So that's really interesting to see his transformation. But on that note, I think we'll end it here with just one final thought, though, and I think is Anthony Martial, because he scored a goal today off a penalty, but thoroughly out. But I don't think he had a particularly good game overall. Is he? I mean, maybe his fitness probably because he's not playing Premier League games. He's basically playing one game a week, so he's not up to the same fitness level that these other guys are at. But is there a cause for concern with Martial now? Maybe a small cause for concern, but still is there a cause for concern there with him, with his form? Or do you think this is just going to get him started now with his penalty goal? Sahil.
Uh, yeah, I thought Marshall was kind of reluctant to shoot today, which is not which is very surprising to me because last season he was taking shots from outside the box and finessing them to the top corner. So it seems like a confidence thing to me because start of the season hasn't been really kind to him after the red card, the 6-1, and just not getting his goal. Which is why I think because he took the penalty today, like he got a taste of the back of the net. We might see a different Martial. I thought he did a lot of things well today. Like he was linking up, he was setting up players, but then he just didn't want to shoot for some
Yeah.
reason. He was getting into good positions, but then whatever stuff he did in the box wasn't up to the mark, like up to the standards we got used to last season. But no, seems like a small blip. Should be back
Yeah, for
soon, I
sure.
think. With the whole team performing better, even his performance should be
Yeah,
elevated.
hopefully that's what will happen, and hopefully we'll see a very good performance. Well, it's Arsenal against Manchester United this weekend, and then next week it's Istanbul against Manchester United. So that will be a very big, interesting game. So all eggs for the Arsenal one. You'll hope that he will rotate the squad for the Istanbul game, but we'll be back again with a match preview. Arsenal against Manchester United. We'll be here with that one with a few new guests. Hopefully, that won't be live. Thank God. I think at the end, but I think we got there. I think we got there in the end. We got the hang of it in the end. Once you just let go and let things happen,
Yeah.
I think it's very good. But thank you everyone who joined in to this show today, and thank you to everyone who will watch it maybe later on. We appreciate that. Please do share your thoughts and comments on the games and on the channel as a whole. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you're new, and also like and share the video. We awesome. Sahil and Kevin have already done that, so you can be like your celebrity icons. Maybe I don't know. You guess celebrities. But anyway, thank you so much. No, thank you so much for watching this one, and we'll see you again soon, guys. Take care. Have a good evening. Kevin and Sahil, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for working through all the Kings challenges, everything else. It's really great. We finally have our first live show of our channel on the books, so it can only get better
Yeah,
from here. That's all I can
sure.
say. Uh,
Yeah, it was great.
yes.
The considering the technical, like that those difficulties apart, I think now the live is pretty
Yeah,
much
and thank
good.
you.
It's just the floating screens. That's the
Yeah, the
last thing.
streams.
Yeah,
I have
that
to
you have
check
to
that
see.
one. Yes, but thank you everyone else who joined us today for the show. We appreciate your support, and we will see you again soon. Have a good evening or a good day, wherever you're watching this from, and take care. We'll see you on Friday. Bye bye.